Hello everyone, welcome to the new episode of Professionals Unplugged. I am your host Utkarsh Shukla and let me introduce you to my guest Rekha. Rekha, thank you so much for joining in.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure being here.
Thank you so much. So let's start with a very basic question. Can you please introduce our audience to yourself, like who you are, what work you do, anything you want us to know about you?
I am Rekha Chopra. I'm a proud home engineer and a mom of two, and that's not an understatement. And I'm a mentor of change appointed by Niti Aayog, the government of India. And I have mentored many young teenage girls and have taught history and biology in DPS Rohini. But my journey as Dil Se Rekha, which is my Instagram handle, was created to empower women of my age and beyond, to create awareness about gender equality, women empowerment. I love traveling and I write. I'm a poet. And on Instagram, I share my poems, which are written by me in Hindi and English.
That's really nice of you. So how did you came up with this idea of having this empowerment program with the women of that
Uh,
particular age?
it's way, I think 20 years ago, when my son was very young, there was a small event in a step-by-step school, which was a dance thing. And we were 25 mothers in the scorching heat. We all are standing. And then the form comes to fill the form, name of the father, name of the child. And the name of mother was absent. So I was so annoyed कि 2 घंटे से I've been standing in इतनी धूप में. I went to the principal. I said, I have a problem. So I said, only why you have a problem? There are 25 other females who don't have a problem. I'm not speaking for myself. I'm speaking for all other 25 women who are standing in the scorching heat. You keep the father's name, we have no issue. But why mother's name is not there? I can't see a single father. They're all mothers only. So I was very happy. She said, okay, I totally agree with you. And new forms were printed, name of the father, name of the mother. So that was the beginning where I thought kids. And then in a marriage, when these people who come and dance, my husband is an ex-merchant navy captain, and that time Maruti was there, his car was saying, and everyone is saying, "Arey, bahu to bahut achhi hai. She's got this brand new car." Now I said, "Bahu achhi hai, but gaadi apni nahi hai." So someone told me ki, "Bhai, beware because she's quite, tej. In India we say it if you." So I always believe if you're giving back, if you're replying back, you're not insulting the other person. You're keeping above your respect above others. So for me, I think women in India should be taught to respect themselves. How you want people to treat is how you treat yourself. If you treat yourself with respect, others will automatically follow suit.
I think that is something that absolutely makes sense. And this is something that you have followed from your own journey, right? So just
I would like to add one more story.
sure,
I attend lots of PTMs and DPS, and there was a principal, Rita Sain, and she asked few, "What are you doing?" So I used to see all the homemakers, "Hum kuch nahi karte." So one fine day, this was my third PTM. My daughter was in, I think, KG or first class, and I said, "Ma'am, I want to speak something." And this was an impromptu poem I spoke in Hindi. कि अमीर खुसरो once said, "अगर कहीं स्वर्ग है, तो हमी अस्तो, हमी अस्तो, हमी अस्तो." If there's a heaven on earth, it's here. He was describing the beauty of Kashmir. Now I say, अगर कहीं स्वर्ग है, तो होम मेकर्स की वजह से है. ईंट पत्थर के घर को आप, मकान को आप घर बनाती हैं और आप कहती हैं आप कुछ नहीं करती. अगर एक दिन आप छुट्टी ले लें तो पूरा घर अस्त व्यस्त हो जाता है. So that poem got published in the school magazine. And from there, my journey as a writer started.
that is really awesome to know about your journey. And can you just enlighten us about Niti Aayog as well, of which you are mentor?
Yeah, I randomly, I was going through and there was a government form. We need mentors of change, and this is pre-COVID, okay? And so I just filled, मैंने कहा अरे 2 लाख हैं and these all young people are there. I don't know I'll be there, but I just filled what I do, and the way I'm speaking to you, they asked at least 10-15 questions. And so out of so many lakhs of people, I was part of that. And then the COVID happened. It was I selected APJ School Pitampura as my branch. Now in Gurgaon, earlier I was in Delhi. So, but then COVID happened. So I had a Sambalpur village. So was on Zoom call only, and I could not interact, but it was very nice to be a part of a mission, empowering women. And since I was a sailor's, merchant navy captain's wife, so I had this, idea of circumnavigating on my own, because gangway down hua and is to go. And I think travel and solo travel is the thing which, widens and broadens your horizon. In New Zealand, I met a female and she said, "What's your name?" So I said, "My name is Rekha Chopra. Before marriage, my name was this." And she said, "Good heavens, I was born with my name and I'm going to die with my name. How on earth can anyone change their surname?" And then I realized how easily women mold themselves without realizing the amount of sacrifice they have put, because the name is your identity. And I'm so happy now the girls who are getting married now, they are keeping their maiden name intact and putting the husband's name with them.
Right. So how do you find the balance between all those things and being a homemaker as well, right? You are running your family as well, and you said that is something that is a big thing in itself, right?
Yeah, it's a big thing in itself, because when the kids were young, no, I'm doing many things besides. I call myself, no, I'm working from home, but I never say I'm working. I always say I'm a homemaker and a proud, just to tell homemakers that their task is humongous.
Correct.
It is a humongous task. I mean, I cannot believe that even after having help, so many helps, then also the work needs to be done. They need to be told. So it's a balance has to be maintained. I was raised by a very strong father, and my all education is from missionary school. My father said, in life, your hand should never be like this. It should be like this. Means you should be financially independent in life. You should never put your hand for money. And I tell to all the daughters with whom I interact in my mentorship, if financial independence gives you that privilege of having self-love and self-respect. So money is not the most important thing in life, but it is an important thing in life. And when you are financially independent, you can take decisions for yourself and you can look after your parents.
Correct.
So that dependency of having a male child, removes. So ultimately, gender equality and gender neutral roles need to be encouraged a lot in India.
And I think these are very valid points that you have mentioned. And talking about being a financial independent or financial feminism, right? So in India, like most of the women, like you said, they're home workers. So it becomes pretty difficult for them to earn for themselves, right? Because most of the time they're working at home, like helping their family, right? And working with them, right? So what's your thought on this? Like how can someone, especially in India, can become financially independent, or like financial feminism? What's your take on this?
No, financial feminism is very important. For this, I think the way you raise your girls, we always talk about raising your girls, but I always say how you raise your boys that make a difference. I've written a poem, कब तक लड़कियों को समझाएंगे, चलो लड़कों को भी बराबरी का ज्ञान दें. लड़कियां रंगमंच की कठपुतलियां नहीं जो तुम्हारे इशारों पे नाचती रहे. ये पढ़ी लिखी हक देना और हक लेना जानती हैं, पर गलती ना करने पर अब ना माफी मांग पाएंगी. लड़कों को भी झुकना सिखाएं. So actually the problem is the women are getting empowered, but who's going to empower the young generation of men? So the boys need to be empowered more. Once the boys are empowered, they will realize whether he has a working wife or a housewife, the work quotient is the same. So that paramount importance need to be taught.
That's pretty nice.
And there's one thing more. Self-respect pay. My poems, I basically write in what I see. One of my cousin, he bought a house in Vasant Kunj, and he threw a lavish party, and he's just saying, I did this, I did that, without realizing he had a wife and 2 girls. Now, how can I be successful in life? तो उस पे मैंने 6 लाइनें लिखी थी, आप कहें तो मैं सुना सकती हूँ.
For sure.
It's in Hindi. He said, तुझे एहसास भी है कि कोई साथ भी है, तुम्हें एहसास भी है कि कोई साथ भी है, वो चुप है मगर उसके जज्बात भी हैं. ये कामयाबी की सीढ़ी पे चढ़कर जो तुम मदहोश मुस्कुरा रहे हो, एहसास है उसे किसने अपने प्यार, विश्वास और सूझबूझ से सींचा है. तुम प्यार की कश्ती को इस बात से नवाज दो, तुम्हारी कामयाबी सांझी है, बस इतना स्वीकार लो. And then I sent him to this one.
That's really nice, and it's pretty important. I think the last line, especially,
Yeah,
you
that
need
is
to
the only
know,
thing basically.
right? If
And
you,
I also think that the stories, the fairy tale stories need to be changed.
correct,
Cinderella does not need a prince. And
right,
I had written a poem also. It's high time my gender is my pride and I'm power personified. I'm not asking for your rights, but will someone write for my rights?
yeah,
Our princes, our girls need to know that they don't need a prince charming to save them for their plight. They are strong, powerful, and they have all the might. Then many things need to change. They're changing. The
right,
change is happening.
correct. And if I ask you, like, what advice you like to give to the young women watching this from your end?
See, there's one poem had written. It is in Hindi, so that sums up. पहले तो advice में, this is beautiful. I say never compromise with your self-respect. I've jotted 7 points.
Sure.
Never lose your identity in trying to please everyone. Sudha Murthy once said, if you try to please everyone, you please none. So in trying to please others, don't lose your identity and don't lose your job. If you were working before marriage, keep on working, come what may. Your husband is not going to leave his job. So why should you leave your job? And if a relationship does not work, that means that relationship doesn't have any values in it. And then you should always have friends which are not your husband's friends only. They should be your friends, your school friends. And you take very good care of your husband's parents, but never forget your own parents. Because I am raising a girl and a boy more. And I fail to understand why this dowry exists in India. Because same education, same paisa, same time, same effort is being spent as a mother. Then be financially independent and never ever try to be a superwoman. Please seek help. This is the advice. ये सारे काम, I know people who will say कि नहीं नहीं हमारे घर में ना खाना मेरे ही हाथ का खाते हैं. भैया ये सब बेकार की कहानियां हैं. कहते हैं ना अच्छे घर की बहू बेटियां is the biggest scam. So please seek help. That is the most important thing.
I think these are very relevant one as well. Everyone in India especially can
Yeah,
relate.
in India everyone can relate to it.
Right. And if I ask you, like, any story you like to share from your entire journey till now?
Oh, there are many stories. Which one to realize? मैं एक पोएम बताऊंगी जो मेरी
Sure.
कहानी, मेरी लाइफ के बारे में मैंने लिखी है. हाँ, मैंने जीना सीख लिया. बदल रही हूं मैंने खुद के लिए जीना सीख लिया. सगे संबंधी परिवारजनों से पहले अपनी खुशी को सबसे ऊंचा रखना सीख लिया. हाँ, बदल रही हूं मैंने खुद के लिए जीना सीख लिया. अपनी हंसी में छिपी तन्हाई और नमी अब मैं पीछे छोड़ आई हूं. लोगों के मापदंड के तराजू पे अब ना तुल पाऊंगी. आई होप हिंदी इज नॉट वेरी डिफिकल्ट. ओके. रूढ़िवादी बेड़ियों को तोड़कर जिंदगी अपनी शर्तों पे जीना सीख लिया. कल किसने देखा है, आज मैं जीना सीख लिया. क्या खोया क्या पाया, विचार करना छोड़ दिया. किसी को माफ कर, किसी से माफी मांग कर खिलखिला के हंसना सीख लिया. बात बात में बेवजह रोचना, बदलाव से डरना, सबको खुश करने की चाह को अब मैंने छोड़ दिया. मैं खुश हूं तो सब खुश हैं, अब इस खुशी से मैंने जीना सीख लिया. बदल रही हूं मैंने खुद के लिए जीना सीख लिया. It is so important in life that we women have our own circles. No, I have seen women are I should not call it, they are the guard dogs of patriarchy. Because the power is limited. और वो men के पास है. तो जो पुरानी women's हैं, in order to cling on to their power, to control their daughter-in-laws, they become harbingers of patriarchy. So this transgenerational trauma is going to end and should end with our generations who have suffered the patriarchy, but this buck and shit needs to stop right here. And it should not be transferred to the next generation. So I always tell women of my age, please stop bitching about things. यार, लोगों के बारे में बात मत करो. Don't talk about people. Talk about things that we can do. Talk about impact. And it is so nice as when I started this Dil Se Rekha, this was my Instagram channel. This was in COVID. So when my children told me, nahi yaar, all young people there are there on Instagram. What am I going to do on Instagram? I said no, because I was I've been a throughout feminist sort of a person, so my kids know it. And I said no, 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 no. And when I started it, people started DMing me. So one little girl, she must be in 12 years. Ma'am, can you make a video on toxic motherhood? Then I realized कि हर एक की problem life में अलग अलग है. So we have to deal with these things also with lots of delicacies and other issues involved in it.
Yes, I think I totally agree. I mean, everyone has their own problem and they can relate with every others, but there can be their own version of the stories, right? So connecting with people is very important, especially
Yes.
someone like you who has that audacity to speak, right? So if I ask you like, what's your main dream right now, or what's next for you?
I think I've always believed to have a legacy of my own. I think the Renaissance we carry, the women should carry also there. Now, women should also have a legacy of their own. And I've co-authored many books, but my solo book is on the verge of being completed. So very soon I'll publish all my books and have my book. So the whole idea is if I can impact 1 to 10 lives, I think I've made it in life. I really want to impact creation has always been my motto in my life. When I was young also, because my education is from missionary school. We used to go to the orphanage house, the widow rooms, and every place we used to go and, help poor people and all. So it's very important. I always believe magic happens when women support women.
Right.
And in India, the problem is women are not supporting women.
Correct.
So if women, औरत की ढाल है, चीख चीख के हमको है बतलाना, सखी हाथ बढ़ाना. I mean, आप कोशिश तो करो. It is so easy to criticize a woman. You don't know what her struggles are. And should not be envious of someone else's struggles. Maybe you are starting now and you cannot compare your 1 with someone's 10. How much effort, time, everything is he or she has put.
Correct. And last but not the least, I will ask you like, what is the biggest challenge that you think you have faced in your life?
Biggest channel is this patriarchy.
Yeah.
Because I was the second girl child in my family. And maybe I wasn't unwanted, I don't know. But I was raised by very strong parents. But parents तो आपके strong हैं. But आजू बाजू तो strong नहीं है ना. आपके जो So when I gave birth, and then when I gave birth to my daughter, these people who come and dance, they said, I'm holding my daughter, and my mother-in-law ko they saying कि नहीं हम पैसे नहीं लेंगे, लड़की हुई है. I was so annoyed, and everyone is sitting, and I pick my daughter and I come back. मैंने क्यों नहीं लोगे पैसे? रुको 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 रुको. मैंने कहा बेटे के टाइम में आपने जितना लिया है ना, उससे एक 5 पैसे कम भी नहीं आप लेंगे. I am so happy. I mean, why should not I give money? So every step. Then we went to a mandir, Arya Samaj mandir. Said नहीं हम लड़कियों को नहीं करेंगे. मैंने क्यों नहीं करेंगे? If my daughter is not getting respect here, I am not sitting here. And जब हम आरती ही करते हैं तो उसमें लिखते हैं, जब हम पूरा पढ़ते हैं तो नर होता है. मेरी हर बुक में मैंने नर को स्लैश करके नारी लिखा हुआ है. So मेरे बच्चों को पता ही नहीं है. They know कि वो आरती ऐसी ही होती है. Because you have to teach the kids.
Right.
So the change is happening, but it's not that easy.
Correct.
It takes time.
Right. I think it's also depend upon how people are taking it, right? Or how many people are educated about it.
Yeah.
Right. And that's the point that you mentioned, like women needs to help women at the end.
Yeah, of course. And I think men need to be empowered also.
Correct.
Men need to be, because I have been blessed. I have a very strong feminist husband, you know. So when what happens when you go in podiums and you speak, I speak on Independence Day, I speak on 26th January, I was speaking on freedom. What does freedom mean to me? So freedom means to me sitting in the taxi and not sending the location. Correct. Your freedom will be totally different from my freedom. No, as a woman, the aura, the zone of freedom is totally different.
Right.
So people have to understand that when a female is speaking, she's not speaking for herself. She's speaking for the entire fraternity as women.
Right. I think that's the very important thing, like for both men and women. I think the more you educate people regarding these topics and the more they are listening it to with their open minds, right? because nowadays everyone has their own perception of things like why to follow feminism or why is it still existing, or just because few people have
No, people, I think they
right.
don't know the meaning of feminism actually.
Correct. Right.
Nora Fatai's video was all crap. She doesn't know what does feminism means. You are working, people are watching you and not saying anything. That is feminism. You have the power, you have the freedom to do what feminism does not mean hating men. I
Right.
love my husband very much. I love my son. I love all. There's so many. I have so many friends. Feminism means that what rights you have, I get the right to equal pay, right to equal work. That's feminism. Simple. People need to know what does feminism mean in India, especially they need to be educated about it. मतलब सबको लगता है ना कुछ बोल दो, कुछ उल्टा बोल दो, चलो न्यूज में आ जाएंगे. That should not be the case.
Right. Totally agree with you.
And one thing more, I would like to say, people of my age who have grown up kids, and there's a I have seen so many mothers, this nesting problem they have. So because when the kids grow up till 12th तो बच्चा आपके साथ ही रहेगा, फिर उसके बाद जब 12th के बाद बच्चे घर छोड़ के जाएंगे, परिंदे हैं, बड़े होंगे, अपना जहान बसाएंगे. अभी तो चलो शादी नहीं हुई है, कल को जब शादी जब करेंगे तब करेंगे, बट जब परिंदे घर छोड़ के जाते हैं तो जो लेडी ऑफ द हाउस होती है ना, जो होम मेकर होती है, जिसके पास और कोई काम नहीं होता, उसको बहुत एम्प्टीनेस सिंड्रोम आता है. She feels lonely. So it's very important for the women who have the kids in 8th, 9th, because kids grow up very fast nowadays. So to have some hobby and to learn and to be aware of the new technologies. मुझे नहीं आता, नहीं. Grab your children, learn something, acquire some hobby, keep your creative soul intact. आप जितना क्रिएटिव रहोगे, आपको जो भी शौक है, आपको कुकिंग है, आप कुकिंग करो, आपको गाना आएगा ना तो गाना गा लो, बट टेक्नोलॉजी से आपको अपडेट होना पड़ेगा. इफ यू वांट टू लर्न, if you want to be go along with your kids, because they have Pandora box of knowledge. So उनके साथ चलने के लिए आपकी लेवल में तो IQ लेवल उतना होना चाहिए ना.
Right. That's really a valid point. And I think that's the best thing on which we can end this interview.
Yes.
Educate the people, right? So thank you so much, Rekha. I think it was wonderful to know your insights, and I hope it will educate many people who will be watching this in order to know what the real feminism is and why is it important, right? Thank you so much for your
Thank
insight.
you so much. It was a pleasure, Karsh, coming here and speaking with you. Thank you so much for having me.